Good morning, Kentucky Career and Technical Education. I'm so grateful for the opportunity to serve as your KACTE president for the upcoming year. But before I do, I must thank those that have paved the way before me, especially our now past president, Margot Bruce. I don't know if you all were aware, but we went through a little global pandemic the past few months, if you hadn't caught on to that. So to say that the past few months have been rough is definitely an understatement. But Margot handled the ups and downs of it all with grace, decisiveness, and steadfastness. Under her leadership, the association has flourished. So, on behalf of the KACTE board members, I would like to thank her for her dedication and service, for being a true friend, a role model, and a leader to us all. Thank you, Margot. So if she would join me on stage, just briefly, I do have a small token of appreciation for her. Here, you don't have to come up. Thank you. I hope you so much enjoy all of that. You're welcome. For those of you who do not know me, I'd like to take just a few minutes to tell you how I got here. Each one of us is different in that we all have a unique story as to how we came into the wonderful world of career and technical education. My story starts as a first grade student. Every day I would get home from school, I would go upstairs to my bedroom, and I would line up my little teddy bears and my baby dolls in front of my little chalk easel. And I would teach them whatever it was I learned in school that day. And then at some point during my lesson, I would look at them and I'd say, "I've had it up to here with you," because that's what my first grade teacher would tell my class. But from that early of an age, I knew that I wanted to be a teacher. In high school, I joined FCCLA. I can't tell you particularly what motivated me to join, but I did. I got involved. I participated in STAR events. I even went to state meeting my freshman year. My sophomore year, I joined the Parley team, but please do not ask me anything about parliamentary procedure. I really only joined because everybody else was older and I just wanted to hang out with those senior boys. Then at the end of my sophomore year, I was encouraged to run for a regional office. I did, and I got one. Then in the middle of my junior year, my FCCLA advisor, Marilyn Barrick, she was Marilyn Bailey then, she came up to me and she said, "Hey, I think you should run for a state office." And I'm pretty sure at that point I was probably looking behind me because I knew surely she was not talking to me. But she pushed me. And y'all, that woman had more faith in me than I ever had in myself. So when I ran for state office that spring, and over on the other side of the Galt House from where we are now in the ballroom, when they announced that I actually got a state FCCLA office, there was no one sitting in that audience that was more surprised than I was. See, I was not what I thought of as a state officer or as a leader in general. I was a little country bumpkin girl whose parents were dairy farmers, and it was a small dairy farm at that. We milked 20 to 30 cows twice a day. For most of my elementary and middle school days, my parents had one vehicle for our family of four, and that was a single cab S10 truck, and we were squeezed in like a can of sardines. When I wanted to take a college algebra class for dual credit my senior year, my parents sold a heifer so that we could pay for the class and the book. So I come from humble means, and I didn't think that I was the type of person who could impact change and help lead an organization. But Marilyn Barrick did. She pushed me, she encouraged me, and she held me to higher standards than I ever would have held myself. And when I think about where her encouragement has gotten me, I think about the impact that each one of us makes on our own students. Career and technical education teachers make sacrifices that others don't realize. We have significant others that sometimes forget what we look like, especially in those 2 weeks leading up to state convention and competition. Our own children have to share us with hundreds of other kids, and they never really know if we're talking about them or our students when we say, "my kids." We spend hundreds of dollars each year to stock our shops and labs. We foot the bill for travel to conferences, and we use personal days to attend PDs that we know will improve our programs. And we do all of this because we care. Because sometimes we're the thin line between a student success story or a dropout. We're the difference between a student becoming college-bound or a teen parent. We are who keeps these students in the classroom instead of on the streets. Even when we don't see it or no one tells us, we're making an impact, and we are the difference in the lives of these students. And for that, it makes me not only proud to be part of Kentucky CTE, but to lead a professional association that is comprised of so many people who care and truly seek to make the world a better place. For years, it seems like every time I've heard a presidential acceptance speech or a keynote speaker, they would always say the phrase that they were a product of CTE. And I always thought that was so cliche, and I probably made fun of it a few times, and never thought I would be up here saying the same thing about myself. But then, when I think about it, and I thought about it, we all truly are products of CTE, and that is the one thing that connects all of us here. Whether you went into your career based on your experiences in your high school CTE courses, or you just use that information in your daily life, we all have a CTE story. From those of you that caught yourselves on fire in your high school welding shop, or maybe you almost got bit by a raccoon in your wildlife management class, or maybe you put salt instead of sugar into your cupcakes in foods class, we all have something we've taken from career and technical education, and it has shaped us to be who we are and impacted the way we live. And now, more than ever, when we have to stand 6 feet apart, I find it imperative that we stay connected through these experiences and stories. I'm proud to unveil my theme for the year as CTE, Connecting Kentucky. Most Kentucky high school students enroll in at least one CTE course throughout their educational journey, and 98% of CTE students graduate high school. CTE is the foundational education for more than 2/3 of all jobs, including those jobs that make, repair, build, grow, compute, bank, diagnose, treat, care, prepare, cook, and feed. Business and the economy can only thrive with the skills that CTE imparts to the workforce. CTE truly connects our Commonwealth. Throughout the year, I have 3 goals I would like to see accomplished as we work together as an association. Together, we are Kentucky. KACTE, which employs a registered legislative agent, will advocate for effective, efficient, quality, and relevant CTE at local, state, and national levels. Kentucky CTE, make your mark. KACTE will support careers with high-quality professional and leadership development programs, including the online professional development site, CTE Learn. Enhancing connections in CTE. KACTE will use its website, www.kyacte.org, and social media platforms. Find us on Twitter @KYACTE and on Facebook @Kentucky ACTE to improve communication among and between CTE professionals. Once again, it is an honor and a privilege to serve as your 2020-2021 KACTE President. I, along with our newly elected officers and board members, look forward to working with you and for you. And now, here is a message from our sponsor, ICEV Media.
We are proud to be associated with an organization whose members exemplify passion, innovation, and integrity in all they do. This year, those qualities were truly on display as you responded to the challenges of distance learning. While the method of instruction looked different, we know the quality and care put into each lesson did not diminish. This spring, we were honored to play a role in easing the transition to online learning for many CTE teachers. Thank you for trusting us to help you during this time and play a small role in your accomplishments. This year, we will be hosting our first ever virtual conference, CTE Inspired. Held online August 4th and 5th, the schedule is packed with professional development opportunities. The conference features 44 workshops with more than 70 presenters from across the country sharing best practices on incorporating ICEV in CTE classes. Sessions will also include topics such as pedagogy, funding, and industry certifications. During the two-day event, we will be giving away thousands of dollars in classroom upgrade prizes. If you are looking for professional development opportunities and want to learn more about CTE and ICEV, please join us on August 4th and 5th. Visit icevonline.com/CTE Inspired for more details and to pre-register. Enjoy the conference, and we look forward to serving you and your students this fall.
Putting this celebration together has been no easy feat. There are several people whom without their assistance today would not have been possible. Along with KACTE Executive and Assistant Executive Directors Mike and Christine Stone, board members and officers who planned and contributed to today, we would also like to thank ACTE for its assistance in setting up this virtual event, AVMS Media Services for their professional assistance, and the Galt House for their cooperation and support. Mark C. Perna is the founder and CEO of TFS Results, a full-service strategic communications and consulting firm at the forefront of the national paradigm shift in education and workforce development. As an international generational expert, Mark has devoted his career to empowering educators and employers to unleash the tremendous potential of today's young people. Mark's best practices have helped parents, schools, districts, businesses, and state organizations across North America to connect more effectively with younger generations. He delivers more than 70 keynote speeches at national and statewide events each year and spoke at Harvard University by special invitation. At TFS Results, Mark's team of talented professionals share his vision of helping organizations of all sizes experience significant gains in recruitment, engagement, retention, and performance rates. Mark, a weekly contributor at Forbes.com, has published many articles in national publications and interviews, frequently on radio shows, television, and podcasts. His award-winning bestseller, Answering Why: Unleashing Passion, Purpose, and Performance in Younger Generations, was written to help educators, employers, and parents understand and motivate the millennial and Z generations. Mark is the father of 2 successful millennials and resides in Cleveland, Ohio. It is my pleasure to present Mr. Mark Perna.
Ellie, thank you very much. It's such an honor to be with all of you today. And I'm going to jump right in. How many of us on this webinar today and at the conference today want to unleash passion, purpose, and performance in younger generations? I suspect almost all of us, if not all of us. And as a result of that, how many of us would like to attract and retain significantly more of the right students into the right CTE programs for all the right reasons? And that's what we're going to spend our time talking about during our time together. And I'm even going to define the right student. The right student in career and technical education is that student that is motivated, they're dedicated, they see a light at the end of the tunnel for a program, and they actually want to get there. The light at the end of the tunnel is a simple concept. What does their career and lifestyle look like at the light at the end of their tunnel? The tunnel is the time they spend with us. It's the work, the labor, the effort, the skill development, the academic rigor. It's everything that's necessary for them to take a step, and then another step, and another step. Our challenge in America today is we have far too many young people standing still in the tunnel. They're afraid to take a step. Maybe it's too daunting to take a step, or they simply don't see a light at the end of their tunnel in order to be able to take that step. And in career and technical education, this is what we thrive at. And so we're going to chat today about how do we unleash passion, purpose, and performance in younger generations. Now, I've got a lot of people in the audience today. And by the way, the right students, regardless of the time that we're recruiting them into career and technical education programs across this country, and specifically now in the state of Kentucky, it doesn't matter to me what their current GPA is. It doesn't matter if they're, on special needs, 504 IEPs. It's just that they're motivated, they're dedicated, they see that light at the end of the tunnel, and they want to get there. And I know that a lot of you in the audience today come from a lot of differing backgrounds. I may have some administrators, some CTE teachers. I may even have some academic teachers here. I may have critical support staff members watching right now. A lot of you are parents. Some of you may even be business owners. No matter where you come from, no matter where you sit, the goal for today is that you can adapt the things we talk about and make them relevant to where you are so that we can connect, engage, and answer why for young people, especially during this time of crisis in America, where we're trying to figure out a new way of educating our youth and getting them to see a light at the end of the tunnel so they can step through it. And so my personal goal today is that I set this at 4 a.m. when I got up this morning to prepare, is that I want this to be the best presentation you've ever seen. That's my goal. I don't know that I'll achieve it for everybody that's watching me now, but that's going to be my goal. But there's a challenge before us. You know, we've got 45 minutes together, and the challenge is that you guys right now you're stuck with me, and I in turn am stuck with you. And so I propose we make the best of this. I'm going to give you 100% of everything I've got. I'm going to make this the most informative a presentation I can possibly muster, at times inspirational and motivational, and at times maybe even funny and humorous. What I ask from you is this: give me 100% of everything you've got, and this time will fly by, and you will have tools and strategies that you can use moving forward. So if it's funny and humorous, feel free to laugh. If it's inspirational and motivational, feel free to feel good about what you do for a living every day, because you sit at the perfect intersection of career, lifestyle, and where education needs to be now, focused on career and technical education moving forward. And if it's informative, feel free to jot whatever notes you'd like to jot, but don't feel like you need to be a stenographer. At the end, the very last slide I put up will have a QR code and a web address. If you fill out a short web evaluation, because it's always nice to get some feedback as to what you thought today, my team would be happy to send you all the slides that you see today. And that'll be the very last slide that comes up. And so that's our challenge. And I'm going to give you 100%, and I know you will give me 100% of everything you've got. So let's jump right in and get the show rolling, as they say. This presentation comes with a warning, as all my presentations do. If you've seen me speak before, is that I speak at 120 words a minute with gusts to 210. So I love to jump right in and get rolling. So there is a changing landscape in education and workforce development today, and the sands are shifting as we speak. And I've been speaking about the changing landscape up until the COVID crisis, and the world had completely changed, but now the world has doubled down on that change. And so there are critical things that young people have to have. And so what I want to share with you today is that I've made it my mission to shift the paradigm of what people think, students and parents and legislators and sending school partners in academia and universities and colleges and everyone within our communities, about what they think about the power of career and technical education and how critical it is in America today. And I want to share with you how I actually speak to large audiences. You know, I work with community colleges and technical colleges and career centers and unified school districts and comprehensive school districts to do strategic enrollment and retention planning in order to bring in more right students and right programs for right reasons. And how I start helping them shift the paradigm, I'm going to share with you now and throughout this presentation. Feel free to take the wording that I use. Feel free to talk about it in terms the way I do, because it's shifting the paradigm and how we take this message beyond just Kentucky CTE, but across the United States, and how we truly make a bigger impact and message. And so this is how I speak about it. You know, I talk to large K-12 districts, 4,000 or 5,000 people at a time. And I always put this slide up where I say, this is robust academic knowledge. Can we all agree on this, you know, on this particular webinar that we're on now and at the conference that we're at? But can we also agree across America that robust academic knowledge is of critical importance? And everyone always raises their hand, because it's true. Robust academic knowledge is of critical importance. And there was a time in America where you could have just robust academic knowledge and you would actually do okay, right? There was a time long ago where the more robust academic knowledge you had, the more money you would make. And we all saw those stair steps early on, right? The more academic knowledge, and people still try to use those stair steps, but it's just not true anymore. The world has changed. You can't just have robust academic knowledge anymore and just stand alone on that, especially now with the crisis and what's happening in America today and all of the different things that are creating the need for young people to be able to adapt where they go. And so in order to be able to shift the paradigm for young people, They have to add to that robust academic knowledge. The first thing they have to add to that is technical competencies. And technical competencies are those hard skills that are so important, right? They might be hands-on, they might even be cerebral, but they need to have those tech. So whether someone's a surgeon or an accountant, whether someone's a lawyer or in culinary as a chef, whether someone's in auto tech or mechatronics, whatever they do, there has to be that technical competency that's so critically important. And then the third is professional skills. And those professional skills are what a lot of people call soft skills across the country. And those soft skills are things like work ethic and punctuality, leadership, communication, work-life balance, stress management, critical thinking, networking, flexibility, and grit, and so much more are what people call soft skills. But to be candid, I don't like the term soft skills. I think they sound like they're unimportant, when I think they're darn near most important things we teach. So I changed the term years ago to professional skills, and now states across the country are starting to adapt that terminology because they're that important. In fact, the Wall Street Journal did a survey of CEOs, hiring managers, and executives at business and industry across America, and 92% of them said that they value professional skills over actually both robust academic knowledge and technical competency. 89% of those same people said that those are the hardest things for them to find. And so it's these three things that create a powerful competitive advantage in young people today that allow them to adapt to a changing world. And so this is the message that we have to get out. But one of the biggest game changers of all in the changing landscape of education and workforce development are the younger generations. And I want to describe them to you because I want to connect some dots today. How we shift the paradigm in education, but also how do we connect, engage, and answer why for young people today, and how we bring this to life in order to be able to move them down the tunnel towards their light at the end of the tunnel. This is what we do in career and technical education in such a powerful way. And so you'll notice this says younger generations. It has an S at the end, so there's some plurality to this because I'm talking about two generations. I'm talking about the millennial generation followed closely by Generation Z. Generation Z goes from the age of 8 to 23 years old, and Generation Y millennials go 24 to 39 years old. And so I call both groups together the younger generations. Now, they share some remarkable similarities, but there's also some tremendous stark differences. For instance, Generation Z, 8 to 23, are significantly more pragmatic than their Generation Y millennial counterparts ever were. They're actually concerned about their future. You may not always see it in their face, but it's going on up here in their mind. They're wondering what's possible. In fact, they're concerned today about something I wrote about in Forbes several weeks ago, which is career scarring. Because 8% of college graduates this year had their job offers rescinded from business and industry because of the COVID crisis at the end of the year in the spring. And so it creates this step back in opportunity, which creates an incredible opportunity for career tech education, which I think now is the single greatest time and opportunity in career and technical education to truly shift the paradigm and get students and parents and communities to think differently. And so we're going to talk about young people today. And by the way, Gen Z, just to add on and tack on a little more so that you know where they sit, is they're already predicted to be the largest entrepreneurial generation in history, with nearly 80% of them stating that they want to be their own boss. Now, this has some cataclysmic impacts in the workforce if they actually accomplish being their own boss at those kinds of numbers. But they want to be in charge of their own destiny because they're recognizing in the world today that putting the world in charge of your destiny is a little tougher than trying to take ownership for yourself. And so we're going to talk about generations of people. And anytime you do, it's a huge bell curve. But I'm going to be talking about everybody in the middle. There's always outliers to this. And I'm going to start in a way that may surprise some of you. See, a lot of people think that everything you read and see out there about and hear about young people today is largely negatively slanted. You know, you hear it, right? They're lazy, they're entitled, they're this, they're that. Wow, don't believe it for a minute. I think they're the most incredible generations to come down the pike. I think they are the most intelligent, resourceful, and pit bull-like generations that we have ever seen. When they see a want to in their life, something they truly want, they will move heaven and earth to get to that want to. Our challenge as parents, educators, and employers is getting them to want something. That's where the battlefield of the future is getting them to want something. And 24 years, and I've become an expert in the generations, but some of the best work I did to understand them was I've been a single dad for the last 24 years, and I've raised two millennials on my own. And to kind of tell you the story of my son, Nick, because it bears on what we talk about today. So my son, Nick, I have to back you up to sophomore year of high school. My son, Nick, is ADHD, which means he's got the attention span of it's over already. And he hated going to school every day. When I say hated, I mean with a passion. He missed the maximum number of days his freshman year, maximum number of days his sophomore year, and every day he would wake up with a different ailment to avoid going to school. It was pretty extraordinary. And he was sporting an impressive 1.5 cumulative grade point average halfway through sophomore year. Does this sound like students you know or have seen or have talked to? There are millions of Nicks out there. And all of this was the way his career was going until the day he walked into a programming and software development class. He spent 30 minutes just checking it out. He was so excited. He came home that night and we had the following conversation in our kitchen across from the island. And it started like many nights where I would just look across at him and I would say, so, how did it go today? He said, Dad, I know what I want to do with the rest of my life. Oh my God. I don't know if you've ever heard that phrase from anyone in your life, but if you've ever heard that phrase, it's one of the scariest phrases you can hear from your son or daughter, because you know whatever comes out of their mouth next, it is either something to applaud or something to start talking them out of. And so I said, all right, I'll bite. What's that? He said, I want to be a software engineer. Now, I want to punctuate. He went to a programming class and came out wanting to be a software engineer. And so I immediately looked at him. I immediately put my dad hat on. Parents, any parents that are watching me, don't we all have that hat? Moms, you have a mom hat. Dads, we have a dad hat. And so I immediately put my dad hat on and I started peppering him with questions, right? First question, dad hat question number one. What exactly is a software engineer? Now, I knew what a software engineer was, but I wanted to see if he knew what a software engineer was. And so he explained it to me. He knew. In a half an hour, someone planted enough of a seed that he understood that. I gotta love career tech educators. I asked dad hat question number two. I said, how much can you make doing that? Great dad hat question, let me tell you. He looked at me and he said, somewhere between $120,000 to $200,000 a year. No joke. I checked that box off in my head, said, sounds like a living wage to me. So I asked dad hat question number three. I said, how do you get to be a software engineer? And he said, well, I'm gonna have to graduate high school. You God. The words graduate high school had never come out of his mouth before. He said, I'm going to have to graduate high school. I'm going to have to go to college, get a 4-year degree in computer science. Then I'm going to have to get some work experience. Then I'm going to have to go back and get a master's degree. 12 hours earlier, he was throwing up to avoid going to school. Tonight, he needs a master's degree. And so I looked at him, and with all sincerity that I could muster at that moment, I said, and this is what you're prepared to do? You're prepared to do what it takes to do this. He said, I'm doing this. My son graduated high school with a 2.5 cumulative grade point average, went to take the ACTE, scored a 32, got a small scholarship to Akron University, where he completed a 4-year computer science degree in 4 years. A month before he graduated, he had 2 job offers from 2 international software firms, both at $50,000 apiece. He took one. He's changed jobs several times, and he's had several promotions along the way. He now makes $85,000 a year working for AmTrust Financial in downtown Cleveland, and he is independent, self-reliant. He loves living on his own. He lives with his girlfriend currently. He takes all his money because he loves to travel to have the lifestyle he wants. He travels to every Comic-Con he can get to anywhere in America. He is living his dream. And he loves to dress up as some weird female anime character at these conventions because he thinks it's funny. Yeah, that's my boy. Right there. That's my boy. But I also call the younger generations the Y generation, WHY generation, because they need an answer for this question for everything they do. In fact, this may be an aha moment for some of you listening to me now. Is that when you ask a young person to do something, 39 and younger, so whether, as a student, whether you're kids or even whether an employee, if you ask them to do something and they look back at you and they say, well, why should I do it that way? Most of us give the all-American response back, which is, of course, because I said so. But here's the aha. Most young people don't mean it as a smart aleck response. What most young people are saying to you is, why do we have to do it this way? You know what? I'm unique. I'm special. I'm important. I'm intelligent. I'm resourceful. I know how to use technology. Why do we do it this way? Because there has to be a better way to do this. I mean, there must be a way to use Google something. There has to be a way to put this in the cloud. There must be a way to get a bigger impact. And yet, we cut their knees out from underneath them and we don't give them the opportunity to try. See, more than half the people that work for me, and I have 23 people that support what I do across North America, and half of those 23 people are in their 20s and early to mid 30s. They're the most incredible people I've ever worked with in my life. They are the most focused, knowledgeable, and resourceful people that I could possibly have found in my business. They so buy into the vision of where we are going to shift the paradigm in both education and workforce development in this country that they are all in. They work nights, weekends, holidays, vacation times. It's extraordinary. They see our light at the end of the tunnel and they're taking a step every day. In fact, I'll even go further than that. They're actually pushing me further and faster in order to be able to accomplish the things that we as an organization wish to accomplish. And with the Y generation, it's a little tidbit that may help you understand them a little more, is that respect works completely differently for young people today than it did when I was growing up. When I was growing up as a baby boomer, I respected my elders first for the most part. There was certainly some times where it wasn't exactly true, but I respected my elders first for the most part, and I worked hard to earn what? Their respect. Today's younger generations, 39 and younger, expect you to respect them first, and then and only then will they turn around and respect you. I'm not saying this is the way life should be. I'm here to tell you that this is just the way life is. And the more you can create common ground and build that respect early on initially, they will turn around and respect you immediately to follow that. Because the younger generations today embody a phrase that we've all heard before. I didn't make the phrase up, but it is absolutely true, is that they do not care how much you know until they know how much you care. And that's where we are with the younger generations today. But young people today hardly, if ever, hear the branch creak in their lives, And so if I were to ask everybody and be able to see you all and interact with you in person, which I look forward to doing in the future, I would ask all of you is how many of you have ever been in a tree? And my guess is that a significant number of you have been in a tree before. And so this actually happened to me when I was 10 years old. And if this has ever happened to you, I want you to think about it. I want you to think back to it. If this has never happened to you, I want you to imagine this happening to you. So when at 10 years old, we used to live our imaginations out in the trees. I lived in a beautiful area of New Jersey where it was a lot of hills and beautiful, majestic trees. And I was up 30 feet, roughly 30 feet in this one tree, which is a huge way to be off the ground. I was with two of my friends and I walked down on this really firm limb. And all of a sudden, while surveying the world around me, the limb underneath me cracked. Literally, you could hear it go underneath me. Has this ever happened to you? Has this moment ever happened to you where suddenly you had this pit of fear in your stomach, and it's what I call the four-letter expletive feeling right in your belly? And I could literally not only hear the branch creak underneath me, but I could feel it almost like a pitchfork going up through my legs, through my spine, and I was in this immediate peril. There were three things that happened at that moment. Number one is I became singularly focused. It didn't matter what stresses and challenges brought me into the tree that day. I was now focused on the task at hand. Second thing that happened was I became singular, is that I started strategic planning. How was I going to get out of this? How was I going to get back to the safety of the trunk? What was I going to grab? Where was I going to fall? And then the third thing that happened is I took action. In fact, to be very frank with you, I took immediate action. And wouldn't you, right? And all three of those things literally happened in the blink of an eye. Boom, just that fast, right? I focused, I planned, I took action. See, I believe that the branch creaks in our lives many times. Anytime there's a fear of loss or a sense of urgency, the branch creaks a little bit and it forces us to focus, to plan, and to take action. And I don't know where I learned this, but I learned it at a young age, is that growth in our lives, in any of our lives, happens when in fact we step outside our comfort zone, almost never when we are inside our comfort zones. So that when the branch creaks and we're forced to be made uncomfortable, it's at those moments that we focus, we plan, we take action, and things can go in the direction of our action. I'll give you a personal example of this, because I think this happens to all of us all the time, and we don't recognize it on a conscious level, but we may recognize it in a subconscious level. And I want to bring it to consciousness, because in 1996, I had the worst year of my life. And it's still, I mean, I've been talking about this maybe for a little over a year, because it's taken me, almost 2 decades to talk about this. But 1996 was the worst year I ever had in my life. It was the most embarrassing, and I was ashamed in 1996. And I don't know if you've ever had a year like this, but here's what happened. First, I was forced to file bankruptcy. I started a business in 1991 that didn't do well. It was, my bad. I made bad decisions. It was all on me. And I was forced to file for bankruptcy. So it affected me personally, professionally. I was embarrassed. I was ashamed. I took all of that. In that same year, I went through a divorce and became a single dad of 2 boys, 9 and 7 years old. That same year, because of the bankruptcy, I was forced to take a job where I wasn't making enough money each month. I don't know if anyone can relate to this, but have you ever had too much month at the end of the money? The 23rd rolls around and that's it. You've got to make it all last until the 30th or 31st. And you thank God when February rolls around. This was the life we were living. And if that wasn't enough, I weighed over 400 pounds. So my branch was creaking, literally, emotionally, psychologically, you name it. I was at the end of my rope in 1996. And it was at that time that I realized that if I want things to change, I have to change. And so I immediately lost 170, in 13 months, I lost 175 pounds and have kept it off. I started this company, and in 24 years, from the moment of, branch creaking, almost broken, I got to a point in my life now where, I've become an international thought leader. I do 70 keynote speeches a year across North America. I've done over 200 radio, TV, and podcast interviews. I've written over 100 articles in national publications. I write weekly for Forbes. Starting on August 10th, I'm going to be doing Alexa, daily flash briefings on Alexa devices around the country, and it's going to be available in 4 countries. I wrote a book back in September of 2018 called Answering Why: Unleashing Passion, Purpose, Performance in Younger Generations. I had never written a book before. I had no idea how to do it. But I wrote it. I wrote it from my heart because I wanted to shift the paradigm in America and what people think about career and technical education and the power of robust academic knowledge, technical competencies, and professional skills combined together to give young people that tremendous competitive advantage. And I had no idea what would happen after writing that book, but it's become a #1 bestseller. And what I never expected is that it's won 8 national book awards. The one I'm most proud of is it won the Nautilus Award in 2019. And the Nautilus Book Awards are given to books that are thought to make a positive difference in the world. Previous winners of the award that I won were the Dalai Lama, Deepak Chopra, and the year before me was Simon Sinek. I never imagined that. And I don't share any of this to impress you. I share this to impress upon you that at the moment the branch is creaking in our lives, those moments where there's challenges, those moments where we take the time to focus, to plan, and to take action are the ones that truly make the difference. But many young people today never hear their branch creak. Why? Some of you are thinking to yourself, perhaps, that, well, maybe, parents, we do too much for them. I've had people yell up when I ask that question in an audience where I could be a little more interactive. I'll get people who will yell up things like, we're holding, as a society, we're holding up the branch. I heard people say they don't go into the tree. I heard other people say that they don't go outside. And the truth is that many don't hear the branch creak, but there are some in our culture, in our society, that not only hear their branch creak, but their branch is broken. It may be because of cultural issues. It might be because of poverty. It might be because of simply where they live. It might be simply because of where their circumstances have gotten them. And so this becomes powerful. See, I'll never forget when Nick came home that night, my son, and he said, I want to be a software engineer. He saw a light at the end of the tunnel. He knew he wanted to step through this tunnel. And it was kind of amazing because for 2 hours after telling me all this, he looked euphoric. I mean, he was smiling and laughing and having a great. Have you ever had an epiphany in your life? I don't know that I've ever had an epiphany. I don't know that I've ever had a moment of clarity like my son had that day, because he was lit up. I mean, have you ever decided or changed something in your life that in like an instant you knew? I can't point to one time in my life where I had one instant. I mean, it's been a series of small instants, but that was the thing that changed his life. And about 2 hours after he was done smiling and laughing and everything else, his face started to change. He started to get concerned, and that concern started to build over time because he realized in a Branch Creek moment that he had an issue and a challenge. And his issue and his challenge was this. Suddenly he needed a master's degree and he had a problem. What was his problem? He had a 1.5 grade point average. How many of us know someone who would have talked a student with a 1.5 grade point average out of going to college, out of getting a master's degree? That happened to be his light at the end of the tunnel. See, my son embodied the phrase that I would love for you to walk home with today and share with the young people within your sphere of influence. And that is that if the want to is strong enough, the how to will come. His want to was so strong to be a software engineer that he suddenly started doing homework and actually turning it in, which turns out those are two totally different things. And he started turning it in. He started raising his grade point average. He started, studying, started to focus in on what he wanted. He started to take one step after another, after another. In fact, he started to build passion. He didn't start with passion. He started with interest. And this is what a lot of people don't realize is that passion actually builds from interest. You have to start with interest and you start making a move. You start stepping down the tunnel with that interest. And as you're making those steps, you start learning some skills. You start getting some confidence. You start getting a little success. And as that builds, that's where passion comes from. And so for young people to see, feel, smell, touch, and experience their light at the end of the tunnel is what allows them to move forward. And this is what happened with my son, Nick. And he was able to accomplish this. So how do we do this with millions of others? Well, it's a concept that I call the light at the end of the tunnel. And I've talked a little bit about it already, but it's simple. There's only two key components in the light at the end of the tunnel. What does their lifestyle and what does their career look like? Career and lifestyle are two critical components. In fact, if I were with you today, I would ask you all, which one is most important to young people today? And for those of you that are thinking to yourself, lifestyle, you'd be correct. More than half of every decision a young person makes today is based on how it affects their lifestyle. In fact, career has become a lifestyle decision. So here's maybe an aha moment and maybe something you can take with you to really connect the dots with young people in your sphere of influence is when you want to have a career conversation with anyone in their 20s, their teens, or even 8 or 9 years old, don't start with a career conversation. Start with a lifestyle one. You'll get much further. Because young people today have a difficult time talking about what they want and where they're going because they're not sure. They're afraid in many cases. They're daunted to take a step because they're afraid to fail at it. When failure allows the branch to creak and for us to focus, plan, and take action. So we need to get past this in our culture where young people are afraid to fail because failure is what can drive great success. It has in my life. It has in many of the people's lives that I know. So starting a conversation with lifestyle allows this. Two key questions that I love to ask young people today just to get the conversation started. Question number one is, what do you love to do? Second question, and what do you do well? What do you love to do and what do you do well? Those two questions can start a conversation that allows you to see where they are on the spectrum of lifestyle. So there are young people over here on this end of the spectrum of lifestyle that want, mansions and cars and boats and country club memberships, and they want to live like a Kardashian. But there are young people on this end of the spectrum who simply want 2 hot meals a day. See, where you stand on an issue determines on where you sit. And then, of course, there's everything in between. But until you learn what I call the story behind the eyes that allow you to see where they are in a lifestyle decision, that career discussion will then take on a much deeper meaning because the career and the lifestyle need to intersect on their journey towards their light at the end of the tunnel based on their own unique interests, talents, and abilities. And that's where it starts to connect together with education with purpose. Education with purpose is a concept I came up with probably about 8 or 9 years ago now, because I believe that every young person should be getting education with purpose wherever they are, from elementary to middle schools to high schools on into whatever positive placement. So, Kelly, thank you again for the wonderful introduction you gave me. And you had mentioned that I was invited to speak at Harvard. I have to tell you, it was a crowning achievement in my career to be invited to speak at Harvard University. because I never had an opportunity to get to Harvard based on my high school performance. In fact, my friends, full disclosure, in high school, I was in the half of the class that made the top half possible. Some of you are doing the math on that right now, and you're figuring out that I was not a great student in high school. So to be invited to speak there, and it was a prestigious moment for me because I was speaking in front of governors, lieutenant governors, K-12 statewide superintendents, chancellors of community college systems, and Fortune 100 top executives. And what I spoke about that day was the notion that we have in this country where we're making young people college and career ready. I'm sure most of you hear that phrase, right? We hear it in our schools across America. We're going to make kids college and career ready. And I talked about how I love that phrase. The phrase on its merits is fantastic. We're going to make kids college and career ready in this country. But then I spoke about the problem with it. And there's a challenge with that phrase. In fact, it's so important to some districts. You might see districts out there that have it as their tagline, right? ABC School District, making kids college and career ready. That's how much it's come into it's been ingrained into our culture. So here's what I spoke about, is that my biggest challenge with that phrase is that no one reads the word "and" in between the word college and the word career. They read it as college career ready, as if the only way to be successful in America is to go off to college and then get a career. And so what I spoke about to a robust applause that day was that I don't think we should be making kids college and career ready in this country. I think we should be making them career ready, period. Sure, all kinds of wonderful careers go through four-year university degrees, bachelors and masters and PhDs and MDs and JDs. And I think that's fantastic. But you know what? There's amazing opportunities, careers and occupations that are available at two-year associate's degrees at community and technical colleges. There's wonderful career occupations and careers that are available through certifications and advanced certifications and licensures and apprenticeships and going through the military. And all of these ways should be held up on high as things that are possible in this country. And so education with purpose allows that conversation to take place so that young people who determine where it is they want to go can then determine the education, the training, and the necessary steps in order to be able to meet their light at the end of the tunnel based on their own unique interests, talents, and abilities. But young people today don't need to be in a position to make forever decisions. And that's a misnomer in this country. People think that because someone goes into a career and technical education program that they've made a forever decision. No young person, or very few anyway, make forever decisions. But what they will make is a for now decision. They will make a decision for now. For now decision can be changed next week, next month, next year. But if they make a for now decision, they're willing to take a step down the tunnel and another step down the tunnel. It eliminates the daunting fear that they're going to make a mistake. And as long as we understand that the power in America today in competitive advantage stands on the field where they get robust academic knowledge, technical competencies, and then professional skills, which is what career and technical education delivers. The combination of all three of those deliver this powerful competitive advantage, which allows them to adapt with grit to any change in circumstances, whether it's multiple kinds of careers, whether it's changing direction midstream. They can take those things and do anything else they want based on their own unique interests, talents, and abilities. And that's powerful. And I'm working hard to shift the paradigm, and I know you are too, to change the way students, parents, communities, legislators, everyone within our communities, regions, and country as to what they think. And I want to give you just a couple of examples of things that are going on out there. So I'm speaking to lots of organizations. In fact, in the fall, I'm using the power of virtual connecting to do virtual webinars for parents. And that's going to be at each community. And so, there's lots of organizations that I work with across the country, but we're going to be doing regional webinars and things to start telling and sharing this story about the changing landscape of education, workforce development in the younger generations, and how we unleash passion, purpose, performance in their life to shift the paradigm and get people to think differently so that they understand in these changing times how critically important career and technical education is. One of these was Montgomery County Public Schools, just outside of Washington, D.C. in Rockville, Maryland. It covers about 500 square miles. I think it's 169,000 K-12 kids. They have 23,000 employees and 207 schools. And the superintendent of the entire county received a copy of my book from a business and industry vice president of a national construction company. And called me up after reading the book, and he said, Mark, I would love for you to come out and present to all my principals. We get them together once a year. Can we find a date? We'll make it match whatever you can do. And we finally found a date January, a year ago, January. And so they graciously picked me up at the airport. They whisked me out to this performing arts center. Sure enough, there's 500 principals sitting in this room. And I'm standing backstage as Jack comes up to me and he says, Mark, he says, I got to get you out there. He says, we're under threat of snow emergency and all these people have to go release school, but you've still got 90 minutes, but I'm going to get you going right away so we can get this done. Before you go out, I just want you to know that the people you're about to speak to are the most college for all people you have ever met. These people out here not only believe that every kid should go to college, but that every kid should go to Harvard. He said, you got 90 minutes to change all that. Good luck to you. Literally what he said. And he patted me on the shoulder and went out and introduced me. I spoke for 90 minutes, some of the information of what I'm sharing with you, and then I built on that in a much deeper dive with them. And talked about these things and received a 2-minute standing ovation. I don't share that to impress you, just to impress you about the message and the narrative that took hold to shift the paradigm. I went back this past July, a year ago, and I presented to their boards of education and their community college partnerships and university partnerships, business and industry partnerships. And then we did a 2-hour meeting in this district. The entire conference with about 40 people, the entire conversation was, how do they convert their 10-year plan to no longer making kids college and career ready, but making them career ready, period. The shift in the paradigm is possible. The shift in the paradigm requires winning the hearts and minds of the people within our sphere of influence to understand the power of academic and career and technical education and professional skills to understand how all of this plays towards creating a competitive advantage in the world today. And I was asked as I was walking out of the room that day, the last question, I was thrilled somebody asked me this question. And here was the question. They said, Mark, is there any low-hanging fruit? I mean, clearly we have a lot of moving parts within a big, huge district like this. And so this will take time for us to pull things together. Do you have any low-hanging fruit? Anything we can work on immediately to shift the paradigm? And I thought for a moment, smiled, and answered this way. I said, yeah. I said, you know those graduation ceremonies that every one of your high schools is going to do at the end of this year? And I think it's 40 or 41. It's a lot of high schools that they have. And I said, all of those high schools where it's a fanfare of celebration where they're holding on high all of those students going to Harvard and Stanford and Yale and all the scholarships that, the kids have won and all of this stuff. And there's great fanfare and celebration as they hold on high all of those that had accomplished to an amazing level. I said, don't change 1 minute of that. That's gold. But take every student going off to a community college, take every student who is in an apprenticeship, starting an apprenticeship, take every student who's gotten certifications and licensures, and take every student going into the military, take every student who is going off to some kind of positive placement based on their own unique interests, talents, and ability, and hold them to the exact same fanfare and celebration and hold them on high like you do everyone else, so that students and parents and community members and legislators all see that no matter where a student goes, as long as it's positive placement and they're going directly based on going into a career at some point, they're just at different areas of education and experience to get where it is they want to go, then we will start shifting not only the paradigm within your communities, but we will start doing it in the state of Maryland, and then we will start doing it across the country. Community by community, shifting the paradigm, telling a very powerful story. I was doing this same thing in Davenport, Iowa, which is in the Quad Cities area of Iowa and Illinois. It's right on the Mississippi River on the Iowa side. And I've been working with them, their mayor's office, their Chamber of Commerce, their workforce investment boards, working with their K-12 community school system, as well as major employers in the area to start shifting that paradigm and getting people to think differently. And I've gotten a chance to know a lot of the folks at John Deere because John Deere is headquartered literally right across the river in Moline, Illinois. And they've been begging me to go see one of their production facilities because they wanted to impress me, which I thought was really cool and fun. And so I finally took them up on it, and I went to see Davenport Works, which is a 2.2 million square foot facility, and it's beautiful. You have to see it. But these kinds of equipment are on the screen now, the kinds of things that they make there. So large agricultural as well as construction equipment. And while I was on my way heading into the door, this was me walking in on that particular day. It was a year ago, November. And I met this impressive young woman by the name of Megan. She was, at the time I met her, 24 years old, and she'd been at John Deere for 5 years. And when I meet impressive young people, I love to ask a very simple question. How told me, she said, Mark, she said, sophomore year of high school I went to Davenport West High School. I was doing well academically at a 4.0. I was in band, and I was in choral, and I played on weekends, music and stuff. And I wanted junior year to take a welding class. And so she took one welding class, and then the second, a third, a fourth. She eventually finished the capstone, got her certifications, and went to work for John Deere. She worked for John Deere for 12 months, when she took John Deere up on what they offer every new employee, which is if you've worked here for 12 months, we will now pay 2/3 of your higher education. So she went back to get a 4-year degree in business. John Deere paid for 2/3 of it. She, of course, made great money as a welder, so she paid the other third of it without a problem. So here she is at 24 years old. She has robust academic knowledge, technical skills, and professional skills. And she currently has a 4-year degree in business, and her college debt is zero. I tell you this story for this reason. How many of us know someone who would have talked an impressive sophomore female with a 4.0 grade point average out of taking welding? Yet, what she took and what she found was an unconventional way to not only get a 4-year degree, but to also then have someone else pay for it so that she could go for all the reasons and use welding. And so she's been professionally welding. She's now gone from an hourly worker to a salaried worker. She's on a fast track management program. And I suspect at some point down the line, in the not too distant future, this young, impressive woman will be running a 2.2 million square foot facility for John Deere. So in shifting, this paradigm and this call to action then is to connect, engage, and answer why for young people today. I know we didn't have tons of time today, and I moved pretty quickly through a lot of what we're talking about today, but to connect, to use what we talked about, some of the strategies and things and perspective that I was able to share with you, to connect, engage, and answer why for young people. That light at the end of the tunnel is of critical importance, but we also have to create a strong message of value and purpose in their life, because that's what allows them to take each step. That allows them and builds value and relevance to their journey in a career and technical education program. These same kinds of things are what I work on with organizations across the country to create the recruitment necessary to connect the dots, to attract more right students into right programs for right reasons, right? They're motivated, they're dedicated, they see a light at the end of the tunnel, and they want to get there. And this is how we start connecting those dots. We start developing education with purpose, because by doing that, we drive employment with passion, where students have developed the passion because of everything we teach to them, that they can go to whatever level they want, whether directly into a career, whether going off to a 2-year school, a 4-year school, going into the military. It doesn't matter to me where they go, as long as they're going based on their own unique interests, talents, and abilities, and getting the education and training they need to accomplish whatever it is they want for their reasons, for no one else's. And that's where we drive this. If you're interested in taking a deeper dive into the shift in the paradigm, this is completely optional for all of you here, but I put together a free gift for everyone here on how to shift your paradigm further. It's 10 strategies on how you can change your thinking and perspective of the younger generations, how you can champion their passion, purpose, and performance, and how you can drive them further and faster through the tunnel towards your light at the end of the tunnel. You can simply text UNLEASH to 33777, and it'll walk you through how to get that for absolutely free. It takes only a few moments. You can do that now if you'd like, because I want to tell you another quick story. I was given an opportunity to speak the hottest day of the year in upstate New York. And it was a year ago, the day right after Labor Day, and it was like the hottest day on record in 10 years. And I showed up to speak to 7 different school districts. And as I walked into the gymnasium, it wasn't air conditioned. It was hot and humid. And I was wearing a sport coat. And all of a sudden, the buses are unloading and 700 people are coming in. And they were all on buses for probably close to anywhere from a half an hour to an hour to get here, because it's a very rural part of the Adirondacks in upstate New York. And I was preparing to speak. The sound system wasn't working well. Everybody was hot and uncomfortable. And they finally opened up the 4 doors in the corner of the gymnasium, and they put in these big, huge industrial fans. And these things they sounded like jet engines. And I was going to have to yell over that and yell over the sound system. And I was sweating so much. And it was just incredible. About 10 minutes into this speech, suddenly, as if it couldn't get any stranger, that's when the flies came in. And I'm talking Old Testament here. I mean, thousands of flies flooded this place, and there were flies all over in front of my face. There was probably 35 to 40 different flies. And no matter where I went and where I walked, these flies would follow with me, and they were landing on my sweat. And it was the most uncomfortable thing. And I couldn't believe it. I mean, this is literally a graphic representation of what it looked like in front of me. Now, I didn't take a picture that day, but this is pretty accurate of what I was dealing with that day. And it occurred to me later on in life that these were distractions. Have you ever been in a situation where you couldn't move? You couldn't, you had to keep going. I couldn't call a timeout. I had to keep, moving forward. And for a few minutes, all I saw were these distractions, and it was distracting until I realized that I needed to look past the distractions to the purpose behind me, to the light at the end of the tunnel, which was to, feed the audience I was talking to despite the issues and challenges. For a while, all I saw was the distractions, but when I focused on the purpose, that's when everything changed. Young people today have a tremendous number of distractions, everything from bullying to social emotional issues to, whatever challenges they have either at home or at school, just trying to learn, trying to overcome whatever their need to overcome. It could even be social media issues and things, and distractions with alcohol and even drugs. All of these things are the distractions for students. The better we create the purpose and the reason why and answer it for them, they will see the purpose, and the distractions don't go away, but you can look through them and past them to move forward. And so I'm working hard to shift this paradigm. And I've written this book called Answering Why, and I share only this with you just to share this, is that if you go to my website, there are some free resources I make available to any of you and all of you. There's a full book study and discussion guide. My book is being used for book studies across America, not only in education, but in parent groups and in church groups and in business and industry groups. It's all the content and application questions for every chapter. There's also a parent and child career conversation starter. It's actually a guide for parents with kids in their 20s, their teens, or even 8 or 9 who want to start the lifestyle conversation and have it dovetail into a career conversation. These are beautiful. All of these things that I have listed here are beautiful PDFs that are designed to be shared in however we can to move the information forward so that we can start shifting that paradigm. I also, please connect with me on Forbes.com. I write weekly, and you can simply go to Forbes.com, just in the search bar, put in Mark Perna, and all my articles will come up. But they're all designed to shift the paradigm. In the first 10 months, I've had just over 500,000 readers to all of the things that I've put up there. So I'm very proud of that, just kind of getting it started. And then I'm also on August 10th starting to do Alexa Daily Flash briefings called the Perna Syndicate. That's something that can be delivered to your Alexa devices. It's going to be available in 4 countries, in the US, Canada, the United Kingdom, and Australia. But I'm covering career education, younger generations, workforce development, the multi-generational workplace. So if this has been of some service to you and some assistance in looking differently at young people and how we can connect with them, please reach out in other areas, and I would love to do that. And with just one more minute, I just want to share my favorite movie line of all time, and then we're done. My favorite movie line comes in the movie Apollo 13. And it was back in 1995, and it's been emblazoned above my desk ever since. And I love this line. It's July 20th, 1969. And Tom Hanks, playing Commander Jim Lovell, and his wife are throwing a party at their Houston home because Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin are walking on the moon for the very first time. And my line comes at the end of the night when the guests have all gone home, and they're out in the backyard, their beer cans strewn all over, and they're laying out in their Chase lounges. And Tom Hanks, playing Commander Jim Lovell, says these words. He says, "You know what? From now on, we live in a world where man has walked on the moon. It wasn't a miracle. We just decided to go. It wasn't a miracle. We just decided to go. See, I find these to be the most powerful words of hope I've ever heard in my life, because to understand the power of these words, you have to back up to May 25th, 1961, where John F. Kennedy stands up before a joint session of Congress and later at Rice University and says the words that many of us have heard before. I commit this nation by the end of this decade that we will land a man on the moon and return him safely to the earth. We do these things not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Do you realize that that speech came only 20 days after Alan Shepard made the first U.S. manned space launch? It only lasted 15 minutes. We had just enough technology to go and watch him fall. And yet, to lay out a broad goal where hundreds of thousands of Americans would work tirelessly to create things that had never been created before. It wasn't a miracle to do all of this. We just had to make the decision to go. My friends, I share this with you for this reason. The things we talked about on this really short keynote speech are things that you can employ to connect, engage, and answer why for young people, to also start shifting the paradigm within not only your school communities, but within the state of Kentucky, and how we shift it one day at a time in getting the perception of people to change. It doesn't take a miracle to do any of the things we're talking about. You just have to make the decision to go. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for everything you're doing, all of the things that you're doing to truly make a difference in your communities, with your students, with your families. I want you to know that I stand shoulder to shoulder with you as we continue to shift the paradigm in career and technical education. I applaud you for all the things the state of Kentucky is doing. You have wonderful leadership. You have wonderful instructors and administrators and critical support staff members truly making a difference every day. I know this is going to be a challenging year, with potentially virtual for part of it, hybrid for some of it, and in person, hopefully for as much as we can get to when we finally get there safely. And I want to wish you Godspeed. I wish you the very best. God bless you. And I hope to see you again real soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark, for your message, and we appreciate you joining us today. At this time, we have a special message from the Honorable Jacqueline Coleman, Lieutenant Governor of the Commonwealth of Kentucky and Secretary of Education.
Hello, everyone. This is Lieutenant Governor Jacqueline Coleman. I am honored to be talking to the CTE teachers today because you all are truly the backbone of our workforce. We at the Education and Workforce Development Cabinet are focused on what we call the 4 E's of education and workforce development. That is expanding access for early childcare, exposing middle school students to career options, letting high school students experience real-world workforce opportunities, and helping post-secondary students develop expertise in their chosen field. You all as CTE professionals are integral to that cycle, and because you are all incredible at your work, Kentucky can boast that its workforce training programs, apprenticeships, and community and technical colleges produce some of the hardest working, best prepared workers in the country. You all are responsible for keeping students in school and thus creating a stronger, more educated workforce. As you know, the better prepared our workforce, the stronger our economy. The past 6 months have been difficult, but I want you to know that you are appreciated. This pandemic has forced us all to adapt and make sacrifices, and I'm proud to say that our schools have met this challenge with courage and compassion. COVID-19 might be unprecedented, but the work being done by our educators is not. Your commitment to reaching every student, no matter where they are, has always been an inspiration to me. It's why I became a teacher, and it's why I ran for Lieutenant Governor. Governor Beshear and I have made education a top priority in our administration. This virus hasn't changed that. We are going to make sure that our teachers and students have the support they need through this pandemic and long after it's over. You can count on us to remember teachers to protect your interest and to value your work. That work may continue to look a little different for a while, but our goals remain the same. So let's continue the good work we've already begun. Let's continue to prepare our students for the future. Let's prepare them to be active participants in a healthy workforce. Let's prepare them to move Kentucky's economy forward. I'm excited for the future of education in this state, and I'm so grateful that we are all on Team Kentucky, ready to get it done. Thank you for everything you do, and I hope to see you in person very soon.
During normal conference, we typically would have a career and technical student organization representative bring greetings. However, due to our circumstances, they were unable to join us today. We would still like to recognize them. Logan Justice and Hannah Jones served on the 2019-2020 Kentucky FCCLA State Executive Council, and they have very recently been elected as National FCCLA officers. Logan will serve as the Vice President of Membership, and Hannah will serve as the National First Vice President. We at KACTE are so excited for you to begin your journey as national officers. What a testament to the amazing up-and-coming leaders that Kentucky's career and technical education programs have to offer. And now, I know this is the time that a lot of you all have been waiting for. It's time to recognize some of the best that Kentucky CTE has to offer. Please welcome Ms. Laura Spiegelhalter, Awards Chair, to the stage for recognition of our Kentucky Farm Bureau Career and Technical Education Awards.
Right here. Okay. Welcome to our awards portion of the program. There are award winners. You are welcome to sit wherever you like. There are tables up here with names on them, and that's more for the lunch. So when we eat, you'll want to move over there. Do you want them to move now, or does it? No. Okay, so sit where you're comfortable now. For those who are not familiar, the following winners have been chosen by their peers to represent Kentucky CTE. Their names will go into the regional pool this spring. And so you might hear their names again next spring. What happens is they're the winners at the state level now, and then they'll go on to the regional level in the spring, and if they win at the regional level, they go into the national level for December of 2021. So it's a little bit of a process. Based off of all the amazing things that I've had the opportunity to read about all of them, I have no doubt we could have people in that pool at the national level in 2021. So stay tuned on all of that. First, before we get started, I would like to introduce a company that makes all of these awards possible for us each year. They make a lot of things possible for our CTE programs across the state. Mr. Kyle Kelly from Kentucky Farm Bureau would like to say a few words.
Well, thank you all, and I'm glad to be here representing Kentucky Farm Bureau. Our Executive Vice President, Drew Graham, is a big supporter of education and CTE, and as is all the Farm Bureau. But I'll be very brief, and I know we've got some members in the room here, but I just want to say it's the 17th consecutive year Kentucky Farm Bureau has sponsored. We're very proud to sponsor. As the Lieutenant Governor mentioned, CTE is the backbone of Kentucky. It's the backbone of rural America, and we're just very proud to sponsor this event, and thank you all for everything that you do, and thank you all for being here today. So with that, I'll end and just say I appreciate everything you all do, so thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kelly, for all that you do for CTE each year. Now on to our winners. The Carl Perkins Award recognizes individuals who have used CTE to make a significant impact on their community and demonstrated leadership in programs and activities that promote student involvement in community service. This year, we are honored to recognize Ms. Lauren Williams, a veteran teacher at McCracken County High School in Paducah, Kentucky. Lauren works tirelessly for her students and the club she advises, Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America. Through her classes, students are able to earn 3 career certifications that give her students the opportunity to go directly into the workforce after high school at a daycare facility. Not only does she make these rigorous courses fun to learn, but her dedication to FCCLA shows her true passion for her job. Confronting the issue of students using e-cigarettes and Juuls has been a rewarding community service project that she has spearheaded this year. Her school has now built a strong community coalition that will combine efforts to defeat this epidemic that is negatively impacting the youth in her school, our state, and our country. Lauren also runs the school's Fairy Tale Ball. It's a project-based learning event that incorporates early childhood education classes by designing engaging activities that are developmentally appropriate for all ages. The culinary department is actively involved in the process as well with catering that event. FCCLA members are in charge of event management with casting characters who interact with the guest. Each character wears an authentic Disney character attire, and they even make some of them in their department. Characters rehearse and practice signing autograph signatures for autographs. To date, her program has raised $10,000, which goes to fund state and national trips for her FCCLA students. Lauren believes that fulfilling community service needs is the most successful when students are actively engaged in the planning process. Her principal states, "There is not another teacher I have known who has had an impact on our community like Miss Williams." Congratulations to Lauren, and thank you for all you do. You want to clap for Lauren? Lauren could not be here in person today, but she is with us in spirit, and we will be mailing her award to her. This year's KACTE New Teacher of the Year Award is presented to Miss Ashley Rogers. Ashley, you want to come on up? Ashley's here. Yeah, come on. Award winners, they're going to guide you to your award. They're not going to touch it, and then you pick it up and then stand. Okay. Ashley is a 5-year agriculture educator at Nicholas County High School. When hired, their program had, on average, 60 to 65 students enrolled in agricultural courses out of 514 students, grades 7 through 12. Since Ashley has come aboard, her 2-teacher department has grown the program to over 185 students enrolled in agricultural education courses, with 120 of those members in the FFA organization. In the agricultural education program, 98% of graduating seniors are career ready through her program because of their passing rates on the end of program assessment. With her co-teacher, they have founded a middle school program to complement their high school program. During her short tenure, her program has numerous FFA state winners and top 10 national finishers. The Nicholas County Agricultural Education Program has raised nearly $25,000 through grants and events to utilize to better education and provide scholarship opportunities. Ms. Roger is a strong believer in bettering these around her and herself. She currently serves as National Agri-Science Teacher Ambassador, National Association of Agriculture Educators, National Bylaws and Policy Committee member, Kentucky Association of Agriculture Educators Scholarship Committee Chairman, and Kentucky Association of Agriculture Educators Region 4 Meeting Planning Committee member. She's only in her 5th year of teaching, you all. Within her school, she serves, see, I'm not done yet, as Agricultural Education Co-op Coordinator, Greenhouse Coordinator, Chairman of the Efficiency Committee, lead class sponsor of the class of 2022, SBDM Council Elections Coordinator, and a substitute bus driver. I am telling you, when I read about Ashley's accomplishments and words from her peers, I mean, who would not like to have her working at their school? It was, it was unbelievable to pull these things out. There was so much more I could say. On top of all she does for ag education, Ashley operates a cow-calf specialty crop grain and forage production operation with her husband, Rob. Please join me in congratulating Miss Ashley Rogers, the Kentucky New Teacher of the Year. Do you want to say anything? You can do.
I'm just so proud to be here. Thank you so much. The biggest thing, I always think about everybody say, congratulations on your award. Congratulations on your award. And I was like, my award? It's so many other people's. And I always think about the movie Mean Girls. And it's kind of funny. She breaks off her tiara and throws it into the crowd. I won't do that. But I do have to thank my co-teacher, Cameron Earlywine. We are a partnership and we are a team, and without him, I definitely wouldn't be standing here today, as well as, teacher mentors like Daniel Bussell, Rebecca Epps, Lacey Short. Those people have made an impact. And, my husband has spent many days alone as I've been on the road quite a bit, so I thank him and my grandparents for just getting me started. So thank you all. I appreciate it.
The Career Guidance Award recognizes school counselors and career development professionals who have demonstrated commitment to connecting students with opportunities for success, shown innovation in career exploration and development, and have advocated for CTE as a viable option for all students. This year's recipient is Jessica Harley. Jessica works at Frankfort Independent High School in Frankfort, Kentucky, serving as senior counselor, dual credit coordinator, and school counselor for the district's alternative school, Panther Transition Academy. Jessica spent 7 years teaching family consumer sciences before moving into the role of school counselor. While her background is in family and consumer sciences, her heart is filled with passion for all areas of career and technical education. Jessica's professional mission is to ensure students' academic and extracurricular decisions today lead them to their professional goals of tomorrow. Jessica works diligently to advocate for her students so they have opportunities to learn and grow that coincide with future plans. With CTE, she's able to do just that, whether that is through internship opportunities, shoring up student pathway opportunities, or reaching out to community business partners for her school. This information isn't just for her students, though. Jessica takes time to educate her colleagues about CTE options, too. Knowledge is power, and Jessica is working to share information with all parties to ensure that her students have the opportunities to deep dive into a plan that will help them succeed post-secondary. Her principal says he can't imagine Frankfort County High School without her. Congratulations, Jessica.
There's a reason I work with teenagers, because getting up in front of adults makes me all nervous, so it won't take very long. But like Kelly said earlier, I'm a product of CTE. My dad was in the profession. My husband is. If any of y'all know Kitty Stevens and Laura Warner, they changed my life in FCCLA and FCS. So I knew after 7 years of being in the classroom that I was making a difference, but I was given the opportunity by a great administrative team to come on board and really amp up CTE. I'm in a very small school, inner city, and so there wasn't a lot of CTE going on, but there was the perfect place for it. We had kids with passion, and so I've been given the opportunity, and I just thank them, and I thank the people around me that have led to that opportunity. So thank you.
This year's KACTE Teacher Educator of the Year is Dr. Kimberly Bella. Dr. Bella is an associate professor of agricultural education for the Hudson School of Agriculture at Murray State University in Murray, Kentucky. She has served on the faculty as the lead agricultural teacher since 2011. During this time, she also advises the collegiate FFA chapter and serves as the contact for a myriad service events for advisors and members in FFA in Kentucky, Illinois, Indiana, and Tennessee. Dr. Bella supports student-teacher development in all of the CTE framework elements, but places specific effort in standards alignment, integrated curriculum, assessment, engaging instruction, and access and equity. She also focuses on community partnerships, CTSOs, and program improvement. Student teachers use Kentucky occupational skill standards, so students receive scaffolded curriculum to reach higher levels of Bloom taxonomy for transition readiness. During their early field experiences, they develop and deliver full lessons to middle school science classes using agriculture as the context to teach science standards. Doing this helps them realize they are an integral part of the school system and that agricultural content is used to reinforce concept across all content areas. Dr. Bella is known at Murray State for her innovation in coming up with real-life experiences to better equip her student teachers, including the Challenge Me Swine showing program, a public relations event promoting the agricultural education program in the community, and having her students identify physical contributions they can make in the community to help develop the communities they're in. There are numerous other examples of innovation, but the success of the graduates speak for itself. In response to the recent teacher shortage in Kentucky, Dr. Bella is leading a research project focused on identifying mid-career Kentucky agricultural teachers to assess the satisfaction in their career. As one of her recommenders states, Dr. Bella is making a difference. Thank you, Dr. Bella, for all of your hard work, and congratulations.
I really appreciate being recognized with this award. Career and technical education has been a part of my life for as long as I can remember as well. In 7th grade in California, we had a semester of woodshop and a semester of home economics. It didn't matter if you were male or female, and it was home economics at that point in time. But that didn't end there. It continued into high school as well, where I found my love in agriculture education in the FFA and became a high school agriculture teacher, and then transitioned into teacher education almost by accident, but then found out that I loved it so very much. And when I'm asked why teacher education, I try to equate that to an apple. If you cut open an apple, you can count the number of seeds inside that apple, but you can't count the number of apples inside of a seed. And so looking at that when I was teaching high school agriculture, I could see the students in front of me and impart some knowledge with them, but when I got into teacher education, helping them to see how all students learn, helping them to adjust their methods to the ways that their students learn, not to the ways that they were comfortable teaching, then they could have a lasting impact on year after year after year of students. And so might not see the number of apples that are produced, but we certainly can see that there's an effect over the long term. So I'm grateful to the background that I grew up with my family. My folks provided opportunities for us at all times. Happy birthday to Dad listening at home tomorrow. And to my part of my family who's here with me today, thanks for making the trip, and I just appreciate it. I've had tons of mentors in teacher education, from Cal Poly San Luis Obispo to the University of Florida to Tarleton State University, and then now here at Murray State University. And I just appreciate all of those who've helped me to grow and continue to love what I do, most especially my students that I get to work with on a daily basis. And I miss them all so very much and can't wait to be back with them. So thank you.
The Administrator of the Year Award recognizes administrative CTE professionals at the school, district, county, state, or federal level who have demonstrated leadership in ensuring teacher and student success and have made significant contributions toward innovative, unique, and effective career and technical education programs. This year's award goes to Ms. Jody Adams. Jody is the director of the New Teacher Institute, the Kentucky Department of Education Certification Program for Occupational Career and Technical Education Teachers, as well as a clinical instructor for the University of Louisville Department of Educational Leadership, Evaluation, and Organizational Development. That's a lot of titles there, Jody. Prior to joining the university, Jody served as Career Pathways Branch Manager in the Kentucky Department of Education Office of Career and Technical Education. Before moving to the State Department of Education, Jody taught business in Jefferson County Public Schools, where she was instrumental in developing dual credit opportunities and work-based learning experiences. Prior to secondary education, Jody worked in post-secondary recruitment and admissions for adult education programs and taught as an adjunct instructor for a community college and 2 universities. As director of the New Teacher Institute, Jody leads work to transform an outdated program into a relevant and rigorous teacher induction program. Jody worked closely with Kentucky Community and Technical College System staff to develop processes and procedures for the 16 colleges to accept an available CTE tuition waiver, as well as streamline admissions procedures for the teachers planning to pursue an associate degree. This has resulted in strengthened connection between secondary teachers and post-secondary community college faculty, creating an increased opportunity for students to pursue dual credit and scholarship opportunities. This work also resulted in connections made with the System Director of Innovative Strategies and the Office for Professional Development. Her work is leading the field so much that other states are collaborating with her to mimic all of the work that she has done. So other states are replicating Jody's work here in Kentucky. Please congratulate Ms. Jody Adams, KACTE Administrator of the Year.
So while it's mentioned as my work, I would be remiss to not get up here and mention all of the individuals that are working to transform New Teacher Institute for our occupation-based teachers. Without the help of Dr. Kimberly Parr at Murray State, Mary Stratton and Dr. Jeff Sun at the University of Louisville, 36 different mentor coaches around the state, 127 different mentor teachers in our various CTE buildings around the state. Those are the individuals that are actually doing the work. I just get to direct the troops. So I'm very fortunate to work with some amazing people at the Office of Career and Technical Ed in Frankfort. Through the leadership of David Horseman and Tom Thompson, they've provided the space to be able to make these amazing changes to the program. And in the last 3 years, we've been able to take what traditionally was a 64% retention rate for occupation-based teachers and bring that up to an average of about 92%. So we're keeping a lot of great teachers in the classroom that otherwise might have transitioned back into business and industry. So I greatly appreciate this award. If you are in a school building, I would encourage you to reach out to the occupation-based teachers, especially our newest ones, as they transition into this field. We all know how great career and technical ed is, and as they learn that, any support that they can get from you will just enable them to learn that more quickly. So thank you very much.
This year's KACTE Post-Secondary Teacher of the Year goes to Dr. Kimberly Parr. Dr. Parr is an assistant professor in the Murray State University College of Education and Human Services Department of Adolescent, Career, and Special Education. Dr. Parr also serves as the Director of Career and Technical Education at Murray State. Dr. Parr received her doctoral degree from Auburn University in 2013. Prior to transitioning into education, she served as a dental hygienist in Oklahoma, Georgia, and Tennessee. At Murray State University, she serves as a Director of Career and Technical Education, and Student Success is her primary at the university. Upon her hire at MSU in July 2015, the CTE program was without a designated coordinator and struggling to remain viable. Since July of 2015, Dr. Parr has reworked all MSU CTE programs for both pre- and in-service CTE teacher and student populations. Some notable updates include the reactivation of the Masters of Science and CTE degree program, updates to all 5 undergraduate CTE degree programs, the creation of a graduate CTE certification program, and the creation of an undergraduate CTE certification program. Many courses require either revision or creation to accomplish this task. Dr. Parr maintains a professional membership with ACTE, KACT, ACTER, KBEA, and ADHA, and she serves on 4 national-level committees. She is also a member of 2 national-level advisory boards, the ACTE CTE Learn Advisory Board, and the Global Conference on Education and Research Advisory Board. All these award winners, I'm going to know all of my acronyms and committees. I'm going to know them all. Dr. Parr is a member of 2 ATC advisory boards, which allows for a post-secondary connection with secondary and industry-level partners. She also speaks to various CTSOs, middle schools and high schools to inform and recruit for the field of CTE. On behalf of all CTE stakeholders in Kentucky, we thank you, Dr. Parr. Congratulations on being the 2020 Kentucky Post-Secondary Teacher of the Year.
It's an honor to be here and to receive this award. I have been in this position for 5 years, and I absolutely love it and truly enjoy what I do. And you know the old saying, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life, and that's the truth. Thank you so much.
This next award recognizes CTE professionals for their leadership on behalf of ACTE, their innovations in CTE, and their contributions to the field over an extended period of time. It's the Lifetime Achievement Award. Congratulations, Ms. Kimberly Embry, Family Consumer Science teacher at Butler County High School, on receiving this award this year. Kimberly has been a champion not only for family and consumer sciences for 30 years now, but also all of CTE. She works tirelessly to build a strong early childhood education program. She's continued a 40-plus years play school legacy at her school, serving over 1,000 preschoolers in the program and over 1,000 high school students. You can see that her effort has paid off when you walk through the local elementary schools and see a large number of her former students are now the teachers. Kimberly has served as CTE coordinator for Butler County High School for over 15 years. During this time, she has educated all of the CTE staff about the changes in Perkins funding and TEDS. She has had major influence on the district's CTE programs, but her reach goes much farther. Kimberly has served on numerous state curriculum committees, helping to develop new curriculum for family consumer science teachers, and aligning curriculum for students to obtain the Commonwealth Child Care Credential and Child Development Associate. Almost every summer, she presents a session at the CTE conference. Her sessions have ranged from ECE curriculum and activities to fundraising for your classroom and helping your FCCLA chapter. Kimberly has served in a variety of leadership roles within CATFAX and KACTE. Ready for it? She has served as Region 4 President, President-elect, Secretary. She's currently the treasurer for her region. She has also served for the state CATFAX board as website designer, legislative chair, president-elect, president, historian, award, and scholarships chair, as well as the family consumer science rep on the KACTE board. In addition to attending KAC Summer Conference, she has also attended both Vision and National Policy Seminar. All of these things I've just mentioned make Kimberly well-deserving of the Lifetime Achievement Award. But there's a lot more to Kimberly than this list of titles you all need to know. In the world of family consumer science in Kentucky, Kimberly is a mentor and leader to all. As a new teacher, if you need help with FCCLA, Kimberly is there. If you're a teacher of 15 years and you need life advice, Kimberly is there. A veteran teacher needs new ideas for the classroom. The CATFAX board needs guidance. Someone wants to learn parliamentary law across the state of Kentucky. Kimberly is always there. Her school needs a cross-country coach, a band booster president, a blood drive organized, maybe someone to plan prom, a project prom director. Kimberly is there. She's an unbelievable teacher, mom, wife, daughter, sister, grandma, community member, church advocate, and friend. We know her list of achievements is not yet complete. We are proud to present the 2020 Lifetime Achievement Award to Ms. Kimberly Embry.
Wow. Thank you so much. I'm not going to look at Leanne. I am truly just humbled and honored to receive this award. In teaching career and technical education for 30 years, boy, that seems like a long time. But all I ever wanted to do was just to make a difference for other people, to make a difference for kids. And I think that's what we all want to do, or we wouldn't be in this. As the other previous winners have said today, several things I had thought of. Teamwork. None of us accomplish anything on our own. And I'm truly blessed to be part of Kentucky Career and Technical Education, Family and Consumer Sciences, and my Butler County CTE peeps, and especially my partner in crime, Ruthie Minton Baker. She got married last week. And also my former partner in crime, Barbara Sullivan. And, you know, it takes all of us, again, to accomplish these things. And I really think of all of us in CTE as a family, because we truly care about one another. Anybody needs anything, we're there for each other. You know, she said that about me, but I feel that about so many other people. Whenever you need something, you don't have to go to teachers, pay teachers. You just reach out to your fellow CTE teachers, especially. I feel like other teachers don't have that. We in CTE are so blessed. We should never forget that, because we have those opportunities. My husband Mark's here with me today. Thank you so much for coming. And there really should have been something in those marriage vows about CTE and, you know, no supper, parley practice is running late, or, you know, sorry, you're helping with calendar girl. So, you know, there really ought to be some things about that. But again, seriously, I'm just truly honored and humbled, and so thankful to be part of career and technical education. When you think about lifetime achievement, I'm kind of feeling old. I've had every day somebody ask if I'm retiring, and I'm like, I'm starting to take a hint, you know. But as long as we can all make a difference and do something for kids, and it's going to be a challenging year. It's already been a challenging year. But, you know, I think of Esther, and maybe this is for what we've been created. This time, we in career and technical education, we've always loved our kids. We've always wanted the best for them. We've always gone above and beyond. But now it's going to require us to do even more of that and to be role models for the other teachers in our building. And just remember really who we are. And thank you so much.
And now for our 2020 KACTE Teacher of the Year Award. This year's recipient is an 18-year veteran teacher of Family and Consumer Sciences at Beechwood High School in Fort Mitchell, Kentucky, which is also her alma mater, Miss Lisa Sletto. Lisa teaches the Culinary and Food Services pathway to students grade 8 through 12. Lisa is very active in her school, serving on many committees and holding various leadership positions. Some of these positions include: she's a member of the Curriculum and Instruction Committee, SBDM representative, Practical Living Career Studies Department Chair, Internship Coordinator, sponsor of the Beechwood Brew, that's their student-run, school-based business, sponsor of the Chef Buddies program, CTE Coordinator, TEDS Coordinator, Mentor Teacher, member of the Superintendent's Advisory Council, Varsity Sports Coach, and member of the Title IX Committee. Lisa has created business partnerships with many restaurants in the area, an event center, a flavoring company, the Midwest Culinary Institute at Cincinnati State University, and the Northern Kentucky Chamber of Commerce, just to name a few. She is very involved in the CTE community through the Perkins Northern Kentucky Intra-Consortium Grant Group, CTE at the state level, and participates as well as collaborates nationally through professional learning. She is always seeking out opportunities for her students and for others to enrich learning experience and better prepare students with work-ready skills. Lisa makes it a point to visit at least one high school each year in the state to learn something new she can incorporate into her classroom. To steal words from her principal, Lisa is the teacher you want your child to have. She is the teacher you want to be your colleague. She is the teacher students will remember for their entire lives. Please join me in congratulating the 2020 KACTE Teacher of the Year, Miss Lisa Sletto.
Thank you so much for this award. I want to thank my administration. They're fabulous. It's an easy place to work. I want to thank Jerry Miracle, who was my high school home economics teacher. She led me down this path. I want to thank my family for letting me practice my lesson plans at home, and my students. Thank you.
Wish I could give everybody hugs. All right, another round of congratulations for all of our winners, and another thank you to the Kentucky Farm Bureau. Thank you all. This entire presentation will be up at kacte.org, and if you know someone who's deserving of one of these awards next year, you can also nominate through that site. Kelly, are there more last announcements? All right. Thank you all.
I got the 2-minute warning, so they'll yank me off with a hook. Congratulations to our winners. They will compete at the Region 2 level in October 2021. KACTE would also like to wish last year's state winners the best of luck as they compete at Region 2, which will be October 1st through 3rd, 2020 in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Even with all of the unusualness that the past year has brought us, it was still a phenomenal year for CTE in Kentucky. KACTE continued to provide teachers in our Commonwealth with high-quality professional development, including our Talents Program, our very first Striving to Thriving Day for new educators, and the launch of CTE Learn, an online professional development platform provided through ACTE. We have continued our advocacy efforts at the local, state, and national levels, continuing our work with our state legislature, McCarthy Strategic Solutions, and most recently, our Lieutenant Governor, who we believe will be a strong ally in our pursuit of high-quality, equitable CTE programs for all of Kentucky's students. In order to continue this work, it takes members like you. So we ask that you continue or begin your support for KACTE through membership. Signing up is easy. You can find membership applications online at kyacte.org or contact your professional association representative. First-time members can take advantage of our $99 reduced rate. We look forward to having you as a member and advocate in Kentucky's premier professional association for career and technical education. For those of you who have joined us today, you can request an evaluation form from KACTE and receive a certificate stating that you participated in our 1.5-hour professional development event. We look forward to seeing you all in person, hopefully, next year at the annual CTE Summer Program hosted by KACTE, July 20th through 23rd, 2021, right here at the Galthouse Hotel in beautiful Louisville, Kentucky. Thank you all at home for joining us, as well as those that are here in person. On behalf of the KACTE officers and board, we look forward to working with you and for Kentucky Career and Technical Education. Did I hit 2 minutes?
You're good.